So oftentimes the spiritual journey starts with the dark night of the soul. And this is like the most painful time in a person's life. And it's not one time. You have multiple dark nights of the soul and you awaken multiple times, right? You are like an onion. You're like a flower. So there's seasons and to grow and to bloom, and then you die again, and then you grow and you bloom into a different state of awareness. But when you start that spiritual journey and you come to the knowing of that something needs to change, it starts with the pain. When you live through the ego, I mean, living in a loveless state, right? You're unaware of your power when you live through the ego. You think life is happening to you. You have made it through your trauma and all the boxes of identity that society has created, like where you work or what you do and who you're connected to, that have nothing to do with your actual identity, right? These are just the conditions of your life in this 3D plane. But you are way more than just this life in this 3D plane. You're not aware that you are a co-creator with God. You're not aware of your personal power. You're not aware of who you truly are, right? So you're living through a false sense of identity. And this false sense of identity you have made, right? You think, in this false sense of identity, you think you created yourself, right? So there's this need to be vigilant against everything and everyone because you have this sense of fear, this overwhelming sense of fear that is opposite to the sense of love that you feel from your actual self, your true self, right? So this sense of fear, it gets, every situation gets piled up, right? It gets piled up within you. So you hold on to trauma. You hold on to everything bad that happened to you. That is telling you that you are incomplete and you are temporary. And so you feel the need to pile on things and pile on experiences and make yourself feel bigger. And because you feel like you're creating yourself, because you feel incomplete. And somehow if you get these outer things, if you get these things that are outside of yourself, it will make you feel more complete because you have, that is, what we're taught. We're taught about the ladder of success. We're taught if we become successful in these things that are made of the world, that we will feel better in ourselves. We're taught that we are lacking. We're taught that we are not valuable unless we have these things. We're not valuable unless we do these things. We're not valuable unless we climb the ladder of success. Living in fear is painful in so many ways, right? It is the cause of pain. Living through the ego, living in fear is the cause of pain, right? And so this pain gets built up so much that you realize, you get back into a corner and you're like, something needs to change, right? And that's the dark night of the soul, where you start to awaken to that need for change. So everything that has gone bad is bombarded, you're bombarded with it, right? It's being slapped in your face and you're awakening to it. You're becoming aware of all these hardships in your life. You're becoming aware of the traumas that lie deep within, right? You're becoming aware of everything. And those traumas don't lie deep within. You're holding on to them. And you're not aware that you're holding on to these traumas, right? So the dark night of the soul is learning to clear that away, right? But you have to go through it in order to clear that away. You have to acknowledge it. You have to be aware that those things are there in order to clear them away. And that's where, it's very hard. It's very painful, but it's necessary to go through it and to learn who you truly are, right? Because when you're in this moment, you're killing off the ego. So this position of death, or the death of the ego, is causing you pain because the ego is trying to hold on. You're trying to hold on to this false identity of self because it's all you've ever known, right? But then at the same time, you're aware that you deserve better. You're aware that there needs to be a change. So you're wanting this change as you're holding on to old patterns and values. But then, so in that intersection, you are pulling yourself out of the drama. You're pulling yourself out of the cycles. You're pulling yourself out of this pain that you cause in order to look towards the self, right? In order to look towards God, which is the same as looking towards the self, towards the intuition, right? God is within you, right? We are living libraries, meaning we have it all within us. We know knowledge is within us. The all is within us, right? So we're waking up to that knowledge. We're becoming awakened to who we truly are. But it starts with the dark night of the soul. And in order to get through that, you have to persevere through it, right? In the beginning, we are wanting more and wanting better, yet we have this mindset where we talk down to ourselves. We see everybody else as the enemy. We have a warped perception of reality because we've always seen through the ego, right? So it takes training, it takes practice. You're like a baby again. Once you kill off the ego, you're a baby again. You're a baby in spirit. You're a baby in waking up to yourself. So just like a baby goes through the pains of learning a new world, learning how to walk, learning how to live, learning how to be in a new world, you're going to make mistakes. There's going to be trip ups. There's going to be, you're going to be crying all the time. You're going to be in the beginning stages of becoming. And this becoming is not linear. This is outside of space and time, right? So it's an awakening, it's an expansion, it's an awareness of who you are, right? So when you start off, there's little awareness. You're not seeing correctly, and you're not going and you're learning, you're constantly learning, right? And we do it in different ways. Some people have this huge epiphany and they automatically transform their life. And even through that, they're learning through stages too. And it's not stages how we understand stages. There's no comparison. You are learning what you need to based on where you are, right? But a lot of times the dark night of the soul discourages people from continuing on with their journey, right? From continuing to develop the self, and they switch back to their awareness being outside of themselves, and they say that it's too hard and that they've gone through this. But the thing is that the life that we're living right now, the life of the ego, is hard in itself, right? But we've just become accustomed to living in this manner that we think is easier somehow, that we would rather put our attention there than put our attention to ourselves, right? Then switch our attention to ourselves and our inner world and everything that actually matters, right? A lot of times people hold on to that comparison. They look at other people's lives and see how they consider, progress in their life, and compare it to themselves and think that they're not doing as good, and that they should be at a different place because this person is at a different place. But there is no comparison between your life and another person's life in terms of where you need to be in your personal specific journey, right? You have no clue where that other person is. Just because their life may look a certain way does not mean that their development, their inner development, is at that stage, at a specific stage. You have no idea where that person is in true success, because true success is the development of your inner world, right? True creation is inspired creation that is inspired by spirit, right? There's nothing outside that is showing you where a person is. So when you comparing your life to what you see in other people's lives, you're comparing your life to a false reality, right? You're comparing your life, your true self, to an ego, right? And you think it's too hard. So when people sell their soul, they switch their awareness back from who they are to go and grasp for the wind, to go grasp for things, to go, get things in the world, thinking that's going to make them happy. But how many celebrities do you see that's at the top of their game that are unhappy, right? Because they're so focused on this outer world, on getting things, right? And not understanding that the spirit has everything, that we are creating our reality, right? When you lack that awareness of creating your reality, you can't even enjoy the fruits of what you created. You're always constantly going for the next thing because you can't see. You don't understand. You don't have that sense of satisfaction, because satisfaction is inner, right? That inner satisfaction is everything that you look for outside of yourself is temporary. So that satisfaction outside of yourself is always going to be fleeting if you don't know who you are, right? When you take the time to know who you are, it's not fleeting, because you're creating it, you're co-creating it, you're aware of what you're creating, and the satisfaction is is your inner satisfaction, not your outer satisfaction, right? Anything outside might be what you wanted to create in your life, and that's great, but your true success lies within. Your true success by how you feel. Your true success by how much you've expanded and how much you've grown in your knowledge and your wisdom, right? And your understanding of spirit and your understanding of where you are in the world. The only way you can know true success is if you awaken to yourself, right? So it's imperative to just try. Just try. When I was at my lowest point, when I was ready to end it all, there was always something that came and told me to stop, right? Told me to wait. There was something that came through that pulled me out of what I was going through, right? I remember at the beginning, I was trying everything. I was completely depressed, and I tried everything to pull myself out of the depression, right? I was trying, and it wasn't working. It wasn't working at first. I would be temporarily okay. And this was me going through the dark night of the soul. I'd be temporarily okay. and then go right back into spiraling into depression, right? Because I didn't yet have that sense of awareness that I was lacking nothing. I felt like I lacked everything. I hated myself. I talked to myself in a cruel manner. You know what I'm saying? Everything about me I disliked, but I was trying. I was trying to pull myself out. I was trying to learn to love myself, right? And when you try, spirit is going to come and pull you out. I remember it was like one of the worst days of my life. And I just went on a walk, right? I went on a walk, and I lied to you not. When I began that walk, I was at the lowest point I had ever been. And there was nobody around, right? And there was nobody around, nobody to lean on, nobody to talk to, nobody to understand what I was feeling, what I was going through, nobody to grasp onto, right? So I went for a walk, and spirit just transformed my life in that walk. I lied to you not. It was like I was in the midst of a storm, and then somebody came and pulled me out and gave me a bird's eye view of what I was going through. It was amazing. And it didn't happen physically, right? I went for a walk. Nothing transformed, nothing warped in my reality. It was my mindset. I somehow got pulled out and was able to see exactly what I was going through and realized that it was not me, right? In that moment, I was talking to my ancestors. I was getting clarity on certain things in my life. And I wasn't talking out loud, right? I had already switched the focus from the outer world to trying to find what was wrong with me, to try to heal myself, right? I wasn't necessarily doing it in the right way because I was still talking down to myself. I was still doing that, but I made the effort, and spirit met me halfway. You know what I'm saying? Spirit understood where I was and understood that I needed to be, that I needed a different perspective. And because I wanted that, because I was aligned to that frequency of wanting a different perspective, I got it. You understand? That was a revelation from God that came in the exact right moment, right? And it never left me. I always have that ability to pull myself out of my situation and see it for what it is, and see myself for what it is. That was something that was bestowed upon me because of that perseverance, right? Because of that compassion I was having for myself, because of that
life is only going to get better. Peace is only going to come into your understanding if the lens is switched from the outer world to the inner world. That's the only way. It's the only way.